Okay, hello everyone. We got breaking news in the Bronx overnight. There was a triple shooting. In fact, there have been a couple stories that have been ignored in the Bronx that Channel 1 has refused to cover. Now, last night, I will give them some credit. They did cover a couple of bodegas that did get robbed. But here's the catch, though. They featured Bernardo Mateo, aka Mr. Marina Man. So yeah, we're gonna watch the two videos at the end of this one, but yeah, nothing on Channel One's website. Now I'll give them credit. On the air, it was their top story this morning because again, guess who was anchoring the newscast? Yep, Rocco. So this is what I mean. Rocco does a better job doing the newscast than Pat Kiernan will ever do on a normal weekday. Because it's a TV meant for snaps. Now, they do have this, and we'll watch this video later on because, you know, I understand why Rocco had to bring up, you know, the Super Bowl. I get it. And, yeah, Rocco did mention the election. And I hope Channel 1's going to be live on Tuesday because I will be watching their coverage since, you know, parts of the 3rd District are in Queens. So they have an obligation to cover it. So, let's get into the breaking news overnight. And the Bronx Times did have this. We had to find it in the crime section. In fact, it was from their other news organization outlet, AM New York. So we are going to read this. And then we're going to read 3 more articles from the Bronx Times because you would think normally Channel 7 would be all over the Bronx. But apparently this week, they've ignored a couple stories in the Bronx. Because you normally hear about some stuff going down in the Bronx. But now, I gotta cover it? Like, really? So anyhow, let's get into this. So last night, we had breaking news of a triple shooting being reported. A woman was killed. 2 other people were injured. So let's get into this story. So a woman was killed and 2 other victims were shot, including an 8-year-old boy, were wounded in a triple shooting earlier this morning. Sources familiar with the case said they are seeking a male suspect believed to be the mother's boyfriend in the apparent fatal case of domestic violence. Earlier this morning at 5:13 a.m. at 226 East 203rd Street in the Kingsbridge Heights section, officers responded to a 911 call on the confines of the 52nd Precinct about this incident, found a 40-year-old woman who was believed to be a mother shot multiple times in the upper torso. EMS rushed the victim to St. Barnabas Hospital, where sadly she did not make it. Police have withheld her identity pending family notification. And again, Channel 1 did send a reporter this morning. So you're going to have to take my word for this. I was watching the newscast when I woke up at 10 o'clock this morning. Alright, so you're going to have to believe me, folks. Police also located at the scene 2 of her sons, both of whom were shot, a 16-year-old boy wounded in the buttocks, and an 8-year-old boy who took a bullet to his left arm. Paramedics brought the 16-year-old to St. Barnabas and the 8-year-old boy to Jacoby Hospital. At this hour, before 1 p.m., both were listed in stable condition. The circumstances leading up to the shooting remain unknown. So again, they are looking for a male suspect, possibly believed to be the other family member. So it says here that, according to CompStat, this was the 52nd Precinct's first homicide reported this calendar year. So, very unfortunate. And again, I'll give Channel 1 credit. They did lead off with this morning. But again, whoever is in charge of their website, I would have honestly taken the video from the air and put it on the website right away. So whoever is running the website at Channel 1, shame on you, alright? Because this should have been on the website. And I get that, you know, okay. I'm glad they caught the suspect in that Times Square shooting. And again, we'll watch that video at the very end, because we are going to watch 2 videos from Channel 1 to wrap up this one today. But, you know, there's a lot of other news we're going to get into in the Bronx. We have 3 other stories that do need to be discussed here. So there was a shooting in Kingsbridge Heights. A man was fatally shot less than a mile away. So let's read this one. Kingsbridge Heights man was fatally shot less than a mile away from his home on Thursday, and police are continuing their search for the shooter. Police from the 50th Precinct responded to a 911 call regarding a person shot in front of 131 West Kingsbridge Road just before 11 a.m. back on Thursday morning. Upon their arrival, officers found Hassan Richburg of Heath Avenue with multiple gunshot wounds to his body. Sadly, the victim was taken to St. Barnabas Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Richburg's listed address is less than a mile away from the location where he was shot. A spokesperson for the Bronx Times on Friday reported that there is no suspect at this time. There is an ongoing investigation. So, there you go. I mean, this is what happens in Kathy Hochul's New York. Crime Wave Kathy is at it again, folks. Let's read this one here. Bronx mom charged with manslaughter after... See, this should have been widely covered. This should have been widely covered earlier this week. But it wasn't. How does this not widely get covered? A newborn was stuffed in a bag. My goodness. So this happened back in September. So why wasn't this covered back in the fall? Okay, here we go. So it says here that a Bronx mother who allegedly stuffed her newborn baby into a laundry bag filled with clothes back in the fall of September before handing the bag containing her dying baby to her mother later that same day is facing multiple charges, including manslaughter. Police on January 30th arrested Lashaya Goldburn, age 31, who was then charged with manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide for the death of the baby girl. She has also been charged with assault and acting in a manner injurious to a child in connection with this horrific incident. Her arrest stems from the September 1st death of her newborn baby. Goldburn, according to reports, allegedly gave birth to the child in the bathroom of her friend's apartment on Bronx Park East in Allerton before placing the baby in a bag filled with clothes and taking it to her mother's place a few blocks away. She allegedly headed the bag with the dying baby over to her mother. Goldburn's mother called 911 after discovering the newborn stuffed inside, and upon their arrival at her apartment, officers found... Oh, goodness. First of all, the word "day" is not supposed to be in the sentence. It's supposed to say, officers found the newborn unconscious. So, again, same people that write for the Queen's Courier. Yeah, this is Schlepp's Media in a nutshell. The baby was taken to Montefiore Medical, where sadly, DOA on arrival. Goldburn was also taken to a local medical facility for evaluation, where she began complaining that she was experiencing pains and gave birth to another child, a twin baby boy. So we know that there was no information about the second child. Cause of death still being investigation. But it was originally reported that the newborn passed due to asphyxiation from smothering. Police did not confirm a court date in Bronx Criminal Court regarding a trial for Goldburn. The investigation remains ongoing. So, again, this should have been widely covered. I mean, how does this get ignored? How does the story get ignored? And then lastly, Fordham Heights. A 16-year-old was robbed just minding his own business. Here we go. Back on Monday at 5:10 p.m., it was reported that the 2 unknown male individuals had gotten into a verbal dispute with the teenager in front of 1 West Fordham Road near Jerome Avenue, right by the Fordham Road Ford train station in the Fordham Heights section of the Bronx. At 5:10 p.m., back on Monday, February 5th, the 16-year-old male was approached by a red SUV seen here in this picture. So here's the picture right here. This appears to be a Dodge Durango, if I'm correct. The way the body looks. The two suspects exited the SUV and asked the teenager for money. When the teen refused, one of the suspects engaged in a verbal dispute with the teen, who proceeded to run up the stairs of the Fordham Road station before the two individuals pulled him back down the stairs. The duo then forcibly removed the teen's personal property, though a police spokesperson did not provide any details regarding what was taken. After the incident, the 16-year-old followed the two suspects and brandished a knife, leading one of the suspects to discharge a firearm in the teenager's direction. The crooks then fled the scene in the SUV to parts unknown. There were no reported injuries. We do have a suspect description, according to the Crime Stoppers unit. One of the suspects had a light complexion and was wearing a dark-colored sweatshirt, dark-colored pants, light-colored sneakers, and a black face mask at the time of the incident. The second suspect had a dark complexion and was wearing a dark-colored face mask along with a dark-colored skull cap, dark-colored hooded sweatshirt, and a black and white jacket along with black and white colored sneakers. So let's see. Yeah, here's a good look at the suspects. Right there. So there you go. I mean, this is, again, Kathy Hochul is letting this happen on her watch. As usual, folks. Does this surprise me? Not at all. This also ignored by the media. I want to mention we had a robbery in Glendale here in Queens. So let's read this. This happened yesterday morning. Glendale Car Service. Police from the 104th Precinct responded to a 911 call of a shooting in front of Phoenix XL car and limo at 586 Seneca Avenue at 6:45 yesterday morning. Officers found the victim with a gunshot wound to his left leg. EMS responded to the crime scene and rushed the man to Elmhurst Hospital, where he was listed in stable condition. A preliminary investigation determined that the victim was confronted by a gunman who demanded his property, and when he didn't comply, the perpetrator shot him in the leg before he forcibly removed the wounded man's watch and cell phone. The suspect was last seen running away from the scene northbound on Seneca Avenue towards Manhattan Street. The suspect is described as a black man of an unknown age, according to a spokeswoman from the NYPD. The investigation remains ongoing. Per crime stats for this year, the 104th Precinct has reported 20 robberies so far this calendar year. 4 fewer than the 24 reported at the same point last year in 2023, a decrease of 16.7%, according to the report from the CompStat. However, assaults are on the rise in the 104th Precinct, with 30 reported so far this year, 8 more reported at the same point in 2023, an increase of 36.4%. And I want to mention, the Bronx Times mentioned something about the crime in the Bronx, so let's get back to that one. Alright, so here's the article I was looking for. So the least steep increase was the 43rd Precinct, which includes Westchester Avenue, Castle Hill Avenue, White Plains Road, and the Parkchester section. Cases of robbery, felony assault, burglary, and grand larceny auto crimes decreased by as much as 49%. However, grand larceny crimes saw an increase 32.8%. 45th Precinct, Bronx Neck, Co-op City, City Island. Increase in major crimes except grand larceny auto cases, which saw a decrease in 34%. Okay, so not going to get into that. Sexual assault went up 1 to 3. Grand larceny cases went up 97.5% in the period in the 47 Precinct, which includes Woodlawn, Wakefield, Williamsbridge, Baychester, Edenville, Allenville, Fitchbay, and Woodlawn Cemetery. However, some other precincts saw only a marginal increase in these crimes, such as the 46 Precincts of grand larceny. Fordham, University Heights, Morris Heights, and Mount Hope. The precinct saw a 6.8% increase compared to the same time a period ago last year. In the one precinct that didn't see an increase in grand larceny complaints, the decrease was notable. The 41st, which includes Hunts Point and Longwood, there was a decrease of 31.7%. Alright, so homicides across the boroughs saw marginal changes, with totals either decreasing or remaining the same in every precinct, with the exception of the 40th Precinct. Saw an increase of 2. The more notable decreased the 44th precinct from 2 cases a year ago to 0 this year. The 44th includes the Grand Concourse, Bronx Terminal Market, and Yankee Stadium. Grand larceny auto crimes decreased almost unanimously across the borough, with the exception of the 49th and 52nd precincts, which saw an increase of 33% and 60%. Other boroughs saw a range of decreases in grand larceny auto cases, with the most notable in the 42nd precinct from 36 cases to 19. The 52nd precinct saw increases in cases of rape, robbery, grand larceny, and grand larceny auto. Cases of rape increased from 2 to 3, a 50% increase compared to last year. Notably, cases of robbery increased from 24 to 47, and cases of grand larceny auto crimes increased from 25 to 40, marking changes of 95 and 60% respectively. So there you go. There's been some major crimes, but look at the numbers pretty quickly here. So I want to see the burglaries and the felony assaults. That's the most important one. Look at that. I mean, mostly every precinct you see robbery and burglary mostly up, which, you know, assaults need to definitely be monitored here. Okay, just looking around here. Oh yeah, I mean 47 precincts, so a major increase. Look at that. Alright, so to wrap up this video, we're going to watch 2 videos from Channel 1. We're going to watch the bodegas getting robbed, and then we're going to watch the good news of the teenager getting arrested. So I'm done talking here. So we're going to queue up these videos, and you guys are going to watch them to wrap this one up.
Alicia Fernandez owns A&G Bodega. Police say earlier this week, 2 burglars broke through the window of her Prospect Avenue store and ran off with a cash register, $750, and $1,200 worth of lottery tickets.
You see, it happens on Tuesday night here and Monday night on the other store. So we feel like we don't know one day if we're going to go home.
Fernandez's store, the second Bronx food market, robbed in just 24 hours. According to the NYPD, $100,000 was stolen Monday from Los Castillos mini market in Morris Heights.
This is a critical moment in our industry.
Fernando Mateo of the United Bodegas of America says this is getting out of hand.
We're going back to the 1960s, 70s, 80s, where bodega owners like my father used to sleep in the bodega with his gun, because when people were going to break in, he'd shoot 2 shots and they'd run. That's how we used to defend our property. Now we're going to have to go back to that. You know, that's not right. It's not fair.
Aside from cash stolen, Fernandez says she's dealing with thousands of dollars worth of damage. She says she wants justice for owners like herself dealing with theft.
You get up in the morning and the first thing is, you know, like, oh, the store, they're robbing your store, when you really work really hard. And, you know, we the #1 business to support our community.
There's been no arrest in either case. The United Bodegas of America is offering a $15,000 reward for any information leading to an arrest. In the Bronx, Victoria Manna, New York 1.
We will never tolerate attacks on our cops.
A teenager is in custody a day after shots rang out inside a Times Square shoe store.
Considering where these shootings took place, it's an actual miracle that we're not having a very different conversation right now.
Officers apprehended 15-year-old Jesus Alejandro Figueroa in Yonkers Friday afternoon, thanks to hundreds of witness accounts and video evidence showing the suspect leaving the scene.
Less than 24 hours later, he's locked up and off our streets.
Officials say Figueroa and 2 other teens were inside JD Sports on 42nd Street when they were stopped by a store security officer for allegedly shoplifting a jacket. That's when police say the suspect pulled out a .45 caliber handgun and shot towards the guard.
That bullet missed her, but ultimately, and so unfortunately, it strikes an unintended victim. Our shooting victim, a female, 38, a tourist from Brazil, simply waiting online to purchase a pair of sneakers.
According to the NYPD, Figueroa ran out of the store and officers stationed in Times Square chased after him. That's when police say the suspect shot twice at the officers but missed.
Our uniformed officer was not struck, so fortunately, and did not return fire. Why? Because that officer was well aware of the danger that firing that gun in a crowded, busy street could potentially inflict.
Police say Figueroa came to the city from Venezuela in September and was living in a migrant shelter on West 70th Street. Police say he's also a person of interest in 2 other crimes, including an armed robbery in the Bronx on January 27th.
If you think you could attack a member of this department, if you think you could threaten the lives of the very people who keep us safe, if you think you could put others at deadly risk and get away with it, then think again.
Police apprehended the 2 other teens that were with the suspected gunman. Meanwhile, charges against Figueroa are still pending. In Times Square, Rebecca Greenberg, New York 1.